For many years, the story of King Charles III has been one of patience, duty, and quiet preparation. Unlike most leaders who rise to power in the strongest years of their lives, Charles had to wait longer than anyone expected. From the time he was a young child, the world knew he would one day become king. However, that day seemed very far away, almost like a distant dream that would never arrive. His mother, Queen Elizabeth II, ruled for more than 70 years, becoming one of the most respected and recognized figures in modern history. During her reign, entire generations grew up knowing only one monarch, and her presence became a symbol of stability and continuity. For Charles, this meant living a life that was always close to power, but never truly holding it. He attended important events, met world leaders, and represented the crown, yet he remained in the background. This long wait shaped him in many ways. Instead of rushing into leadership, he spent decades learning, observing, and preparing. He developed strong opinions on issues like climate change, architecture, and sustainable living, often speaking about topics that others ignored at the time. Many people believed that when his moment finally came, he would bring thoughtful ideas and meaningful change to the monarchy. But there was always one reality that could not be ignored. As the years passed, Charles was growing older, and the time he would have to rule was becoming shorter. When he finally became king in 2022, he was already in his 70s. This made his situation very different from most monarchs in history. Instead of beginning a long reign full of energy and time, he stepped into a role filled with immediate pressure, high expectations, and serious challenges. His journey to the throne was not just about achieving a lifelong goal, but also about carrying a heavy responsibility at a time when many people begin to slow down. This unique situation set the stage for everything that followed, including the difficult decisions he would soon have to make regarding the future of the monarchy and the role of his son, Prince William. The moment that changed everything came in September 2022, when Queen Elizabeth II passed away. Her death marked the end of an era that had lasted for decades and had shaped the identity of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. People across the world mourned deeply, remembering her as a steady and calming presence during times of change and uncertainty. For Charles, however, this moment was both historic and deeply personal. He had lost his mother, and at the same time, he had gained the crown he had been preparing for his entire life. Becoming king was not simply a reward for his patience. It was a sudden shift into a role filled with responsibility and expectation. As King Charles III began his reign, many hoped he would bring fresh energy and new ideas to the monarchy. However, the reality was far more complex. Almost immediately, he faced challenges that tested his strength and leadership. There were ongoing family tensions, constant media attention, and growing public expectations. The royal family had already been under pressure in recent years, and now all eyes were on Charles to maintain stability. At the same time, questions about the future began to emerge. People wondered how long he would reign and what kind of legacy he would leave behind. Unlike his mother, who ruled for decades, Charles did not have the same amount of time. This created a sense of urgency around his decisions. Every action he took seemed to carry extra weight, as it would shape not only his own legacy, but also the future of the monarchy itself. During this period, his son, Prince William, became increasingly important. As the next in line to the throne, William represented the future, a younger and more modern face of the royal family. Many observers began to see him as a key figure in maintaining public trust and ensuring continuity. This growing focus on William raised important questions about how responsibilities would be shared and whether the king might begin to rely more heavily on his son as time went on. As the months passed, a new and serious challenge emerged that would change the course of King Charles's reign. In early 2024, an announcement from Buckingham Palace revealed that he had been diagnosed with cancer. The news came as a shock to many people around the world. While the statement was calm and carefully written, its impact was powerful. It reminded everyone that even a king is not immune to illness and human vulnerability. The palace assured the public that King Charles III had begun treatment and would continue to carry out his duties as much as possible. At first, everything appeared under control. The king returned to public engagements, met with officials, and maintained his usual responsibilities. However, behind the scenes, things were changing. His schedule became lighter, and certain duties were quietly passed on to other members of the royal family. These changes were subtle, but they did not go unnoticed. Observers began to see that the rhythm of the monarchy was shifting. For someone in his 70s, undergoing cancer treatment is not easy. It requires careful management of time, energy, and health. As the treatment continued, it became clear that this was not a short-term issue. Months turned into a year, and the king was still receiving care. This raised concerns about how long he could continue to fulfill his role in the same way. While the public image remained steady and composed, there was a growing understanding that adjustments were being made behind the scenes. During this time, Prince William stepped forward more often, taking on additional responsibilities and representing the crown at important events. This gradual shift was not officially described as a transfer of power, but it suggested that the future was already beginning to take shape. The idea that William might need to play a larger role became more realistic with each passing month, especially as the king focused on balancing his duties with his health. At the same time, another layer of tension began to develop within the royal narrative. Reports and rumors started to circulate about possible controversies involving Camilla. While not all of these claims were confirmed, they added to the sense of uncertainty surrounding the monarchy. In today's media-driven world, even small stories can quickly grow into major public discussions. For a royal family that depends heavily on its image, this kind of attention can be difficult to manage. The combination of the king's health concerns and ongoing speculation about internal issues created a challenging situation. It was no longer just about maintaining tradition. It was about protecting the stability and reputation of the institution itself. In such moments, leadership decisions become even more important. Many observers began to interpret the increasing role of Prince William as more than just a practical adjustment. Some saw it as a strategic move to ensure continuity and stability. Others questioned whether it was a response to pressures that the palace could not fully control. The idea that King Charles III might be quietly placing greater authority in William's hands gained attention. Whether this was a formal decision or a natural result of circumstances, it highlighted an important reality. The monarchy must always be prepared for change, even when that change comes unexpectedly. For the public, this situation created a mix of emotions. There was concern for the king's health, curiosity about the internal dynamics of the royal family, and interest in what the future might hold. The story was no longer just about one man's journey to the throne. It had become a broader narrative about transition, resilience, and the challenges of leading an ancient institution in a modern world. As Prince William's role continued to grow, many people began to look at him as the bridge between tradition and the future. Unlike his father, William has grown up in a very different world, one shaped by rapid technological change, global communication, and shifting public expectations. He understands the importance of connecting with people in a more direct and relatable way. This has made him a popular figure, especially among younger generations. As Prince William took on more duties, he demonstrated a calm and steady approach that reassured many observers. He attended important events, represented the royal family on the global stage, and supported key causes. His presence helped maintain a sense of continuity during a time of uncertainty. For the monarchy, this was essential. The institution depends on public trust, and that trust must be carefully maintained, especially during periods of change. The idea that William might eventually take on even greater responsibility did not feel sudden or surprising. Instead, it seemed like a natural progression, shaped by the circumstances surrounding his father's reign. At the same time, this shift also raised important questions. How much authority should be shared, and when should it happen? How can the monarchy balance respect for tradition with the need to adapt to new realities? These questions do not have simple answers, but they are central to the future of the royal family. For King Charles, the challenge is not only to fulfill his role as best as he can, but also to prepare the next generation for what lies ahead. This involves careful planning, thoughtful decision-making, and a clear understanding of the responsibilities involved. In this sense, The relationship between Charles and William becomes one of the most important aspects of the current royal story. Looking ahead, the situation facing the British monarchy is both complex and uncertain. On one hand, there is a strong foundation built over centuries of tradition and continuity. On the other hand, there are modern challenges that require flexibility and adaptation. The health of King Charles III remains a key factor in shaping what happens next. While official statements continue to be positive and reassuring, the reality of long-term medical treatment cannot be ignored. It places limits on what the king can do and creates a need for support from others. This is where Prince William's role becomes even more important. His ability to step in when needed and maintain stability is crucial for the smooth functioning of the monarchy. At the same time, public perception plays a major role. People want to feel confident that the institution is strong and capable of handling challenges. Any signs of weakness or confusion can quickly lead to doubt and criticism. This is why the palace must carefully manage both its actions and its communication. Every decision, every appearance, and every statement carries meaning. The idea that authority might be gradually shifting is not something that can be openly declared without careful consideration. Instead, it is something that happens quietly through actions rather than words. This subtle approach helps maintain stability while allowing for necessary adjustments. For observers, it creates a sense of mystery and speculation, but for the monarchy, it is a way of managing change without causing disruption. In the end, the story of King Charles, Prince William, and the future of the monarchy is still unfolding. It is a story shaped by history, responsibility, and the realities of modern life. The idea that King Charles III may be placing greater trust and authority in Prince William is not just about one moment or one decision. It reflects a broader process of transition that is taking place over time. At the same time, the attention surrounding Camilla and other internal dynamics adds complexity to the situation. These elements combine to create a narrative that is both compelling and uncertain. For the public, it is a story of change and continuity, of tradition meeting modern challenges. For the royal family, it is a test of resilience and leadership. As events continue to unfold, one thing remains clear. The monarchy must adapt while staying true to its core values. This balance is not easy to achieve, but it is essential for its survival. Whether through careful planning, quiet transitions, or the steady presence of figures like Prince William, the institution will continue to evolve. And as it does, the world will be watching closely, trying to understand what the future holds for one of the most enduring symbols of history and tradition. One of the most striking aspects of this ongoing story is how much it highlights the human side of royalty. British monarch is not just a figurehead or a symbol of tradition. He's a person navigating challenges that most ordinary people could never imagine. From dealing with the emotional loss of his mother to facing serious health issues, his journey reminds the world that even kings are vulnerable. At the same time, his long life in preparation for the throne has shaped his character in profound ways. He has learned patience, discretion, and resilience. These qualities are particularly important now, as he balances his personal struggles with the immense public expectations placed upon him. Many observers note that his careful approach to duty demonstrates not weakness, but wisdom. He has shown the ability to manage multiple pressures at once, from health concerns to family dynamics, all while maintaining the dignity expected of a monarch. Meanwhile, the increasing visibility of Prince of Wales highlights another dimension of this story. William has stepped into a role that requires both support and leadership, acting as a stabilizing presence for the family and the public. He is learning firsthand how the responsibilities of royalty are not just ceremonial, but also deeply practical and personal. His actions, appearances, and growing involvement in key matters signal to the public that the monarchy is preparing for the next generation while still respecting the current king's authority. This duality, balancing tradition with transition, makes the current moment in British royal history especially compelling. Every decision, whether it involves who attends a ceremony or who manages an official responsibility, is carefully calculated. Observers and royal commentators around the world follow these details closely, analyzing the subtle ways in which authority and responsibility are shifting. The combination of Charles's personal challenges, William's rising role, and the palace's careful management of public perception creates a rich narrative that captures the attention of millions via an addition to personal and familial factors. The broader public perception of the monarchy also plays a significant role in shaping events. The royal family has always depended on public trust and admiration to maintain its position. In today's era of constant media scrutiny and social media commentary, that trust is both more fragile and more visible than ever before. Any hint of misstep, health crisis, or internal disagreement can quickly become news around the globe. This environment makes the careful management of authority and responsibilities even more critical. The subtle shift of certain duties from British monarch to Prince of Wales is a reflection not only of practical necessity due to age and health concerns, but also of a strategic effort to ensure that the monarchy continues to project stability. Public ceremonies, charitable work, and high-profile appearances all serve as signals to the world that the institution is resilient. By increasing William's visibility, while Charles continues to fulfill his duties to the extent possible, the royal family demonstrates continuity and strength. This balance is delicate. The monarchy cannot appear divided, nor can it seem to be passing authority prematurely. It is a quiet and carefully orchestrated process. At the same time, this situation raises questions about succession and the future of royal leadership. Observers speculate on how William will shape his eventual reign, whether he will modernize aspects of the monarchy, and how he might address both public expectations and family responsibilities. The relationship between father and son is now under intense scrutiny, as it represents the broader story of transition within one of the world's oldest and most symbolic institutions. In many ways, the current moment reflects the monarchy's long-standing ability to adapt to change while preserving core traditions. Charles's experience, William's increasing involvement, and the public's attention create a dynamic interplay that defines the modern royal narrative. Each event, statement, and appearance carries meaning beyond its immediate context, reflecting both historical precedent and contemporary realities. As this story continues to unfold, it offers a unique perspective on leadership, responsibility, and the careful balancing act required to maintain an institution that has survived for centuries. Another key element of this evolving story is the way it demonstrates the intersection of personal health, family dynamics, and institutional responsibility. The diagnosis of cancer in British monarch was a pivotal moment that affected not only his ability to carry out day-to-day duties, but also the overall rhythm of the monarchy. While official communications reassured the public that Charles remained active and committed, behind-the-scenes adjustments were significant. Certain duties were shifted to Prince William, calendars were adapted to accommodate treatment and recovery, and public engagements were strategically spaced to reduce strain. These changes were subtle enough to preserve an image of normalcy and stability, yet they also indicated a gradual redistribution of responsibilities. In practical terms, this meant that William became more visible and involved, serving as both a representative of the monarchy and a supporter to his father. For observers and royal watchers, this situation offered insight into how the institution adapts in times of personal challenge. The monarchy is not just a symbolic entity, it relies on the active participation of multiple members to maintain its function. By stepping into a more prominent role, William ensured continuity and helped prevent gaps that could undermine public confidence. At the same time, this period of transition revealed the emotional and human dimensions of leadership. Charles, despite his long preparation and extensive experience, faced the challenge of balancing health concerns with the